Well, good morning, folks. Can you hear me? Is my voice magnified enough? Okay. I'm George Ed Bennett, and a lot of you know that. And so I just wanted to set the stage a little bit. And Julie Morrison is right here. She's going to be microphoned as well. She's been handing out these handouts that have a little graphic on the front. If you don't already have a handout, it's right here on the front pew. And Tilly might be willing to hand out some handouts to people that are coming in a little bit late. Tilly Allen is somebody that's very involved in our Justice Ministries, and she may be manning this table in the fellowship hall. If you wanted to volunteer for the Good Neighbors Warming Center, there's some slots to volunteer in the first week of it, and then there'll be news about how to do that later for all the other weeks that we're going to participate. But let me just tell you a little bit about Julie Morrison. And I only know a little bit about Julie Morrison because she moved here from Chicago?
From Phoenix.
Phoenix, by way of Chicago. And so she moved here from Phoenix. And she joined the church, was it last May?
Yes.
Yes, it was. And so in this time that she's been connecting with the church, she has really been a spark of talent and foresight and planning, and she joined our Justice Ministries team. And there came a time in the last year where the Justice Ministries team needed to switch leaders. And Julie was willing to take on the chair of our Justice Ministries team. Julie is an author, published author. She is enthusiastically a participant in our 8:15 service. And I just found out that she just applied to the Graduate Theological Union for interfaith chaplaincy training. And so there is a spark in Julie, and you're going to hear it when you hear her talk. She has done some research on the resources for the houseless in the community of Reno. And some of that is on this page here, and some of it is in her head, and she's going to explain it to you. And I'm really just thrilled to have her leading our first Justice Forum and having this discussion with us, because I heard some of this information already from her, and it's really good. So thank you, Julie.
Well, thank you for the introduction, and most importantly, thank you for coming, because the Justice Ministries Committee wants to be the hands of God helping in the world, but we want to direct those hands where our church community wants us to be, and in places that is important to our whole community. And so we very much want this to be a conversation, hearing from you what more, what less, what else we should be doing in the world. And our first topic, today's topic, is about houselessness, homelessness. And we choose that because we are, as you heard in church today probably, we are about to host the Good Neighbors Warming Center with our community partner, Reno Initiative for Shelter and Equality. And so we wanted to have a conversation because we are going to be serving in this way to see how else or how differently should we be serving this unsheltered population. And so the first thing I will do today is lay out for you briefly the need to house the unsheltered. And the need you will find mostly on this page with the graphs. And the totals, I know the totals aren't real sharp, and so that's why we have in the bullet points some of the numbers, the sums of how things total. Then in the back, what we have is a description of how the church is currently responding to the needs. And so having then made sure that everyone is working with the same information of what the needs are and what our responses are, we want very much to hear from you about how that information meets you today, what your impressions or thoughts are about it, and if you have ideas for what more else different we could be doing. And then at the very end, we want to pause and make sure that we ask you, what else should we be talking about as a church community? In what other places beyond just finding people housing should we be serving? I'm sorry, I'm struggling with this a little. We'll do our best.
Well, let you work on that while I talk about the microphone situation. So we are recording this, and that means that we're going to edit it and put it online for other people to see. If you want a question, and I hope you do, or an answer, I want you to raise your hand, and we're going to run a microphone out to you so that it can be heard by the recording and by the people in the room that don't have great hearing. So we're going to use the microphone for everything. And do you got that all worked out?
I think so. We will hope so. Okay, so in the beginning, the page, and if you're just walking in, we have these handouts here at the front of the church. If you need one, raise a hand. Tilly will bring one to you. So just to begin with, what are we looking at? I used Washoe County's database, the community analysis, and their community capacity analysis and their community dashboard, which is discoverable on their website. And, short story, over 2,100 people in Washoe County need housing. And this is men, women, children, family, veterans, chronically, sporadically, that's the total. You will see on the website that you can break it down into subgroups, but short story, over 2,100 people need housing. Interestingly, there are over 3,200 units of housing available. So what we have is and we should pause for a minute. The 2,100 number we know is low, and we know that's low because it is so difficult to survey people without an address. So that's the first thing to understand. The second thing to understand is that those 3,200 units are supplied from 28 different organizations and 72 different programs. Some of them are far more accessible. They are low barriers to entry, and I'll explain that term in a minute. Others have many more prerequisites to be able to get into that housing. But we see that we have disparity between people who need housing and there being, at first glance, a surplus of housing available. But we need to understand this. Washoe County also considers $1,200 a month. If you have an income of $1,200 a month, you qualify for market rate housing. Housing market rates are determined by our median income, and Washoe County includes Incline Village. And so housing prices, right, are inflated because we have, and rates from the market are inflated because of the effect of Incline Village. So let's say that we have somebody on $1,200 worth of housing, or that $1,200 worth of income. Most market rate landlords require that your rent payment be no more than 30% of your income. So that would mean that somebody on $1,200 would have to find something for less than $400 a month. Yes, good, we're seeing eye rolls. We understand, like, this is an impossible task. So we have, and I explain this a little more in the back, if you want to flip your pages. We have people who need housing right now. And then we have people who have been in temporary housing who are ready for permanent housing. And here's where we get more of the mismatches and gaps. In the emergency, and partly of why the church is responding as it is, for those who need housing right now, the CARES campus provides 550 rooms and beds for men or men and women. Essentially, it is a mixed population. Anybody can come shelter. The women and children only has only 160 rooms and a wait list of over 100. Right now, both facilities are at capacity. The wait list for women is over 100 people. It's almost, 2/3 the capacity. We have, and then on the permanent side, when people have restabilized, they're ready for permanent housing, Reno Public Housing Authority has a 12 to 18-month wait for those with housing vouchers. So we have people waiting to get into something right now. We have people waiting to get into something more permanently. And that is for the housing that is most accessible. Some housing in that 3,200 unit total is made available by those who have pet policies or sobriety requirements or program fulfillment requirements or graduation requirements or a deposit. And let's also understand that as we are applying for apartments for housing, that's $35 an application. And so if you're on $1,200 a month, you don't have $35 to keep spending to apply. Besides which, we have people, when they're in the situation of needing housing, some of them have been in public housing before, and they haven't been able to make their rent. Nevada is a summary eviction state. RISE, our community partner, tells me that it's the only state in the union that allows a landlord to serve an eviction notice and be able to remove that tenant unless the tenant files in court within 10 days of the notice. So there are market barriers to entry in terms of inflated pricing. There are system barriers in that if you've had an eviction notice, that's going to go on your credit report. And so even if you have the $35 for the application and you've been evicted, it's going to show that you've been evicted before. You're not going to look like a real attractive tenant. And then we have that requirement, if you're trying for market rate housing, that you're paying no more than 30% of your total. So you have lots of systemic difficulties facing people in these situations. And so as I thought about it, I wanted to be able to focus our conversation today on the question about if we are willing partners to agencies that are already out there trying to provide housing, how do we help? And so the first thing to understand is how we are helping. And I've put this together in the shelter needs page. For those top left who are experiencing emergency housing need, we have, if you move down, we characterize the need first, and then I move down to the church response. What we have there is the Good Neighbors Warming Center, where we will have room for 25 more women or children or families from December to March in our churches and in our partners' churches overnight. We also have Charlie bags at the side of the church, and I encourage you all to take them so that you can distribute them to people that you encounter who need them. But these are two things we are doing for people who are in emergency situation. Then as we move over to the next column under a need for permanent housing, we work with Monai Village, which is a project that Pat Artis has been leading. She and her husband have fostered over 100 children who have aged out of the foster care system. Right now, they have, they have 8 residents in Monai Village. They want to add 10 more. These are young adults who have aged out of foster care that Monai Village is trying to shepherd into permanent housing. This is a temporary place. They're trying to make them ready to become ready for permanent housing. So we support Monai Village, both financially and administratively, in that we help apply for grants, we help with grant writing for them. Once you get people home, they're not done, right? They need food, they need to be able to pay utilities, kids need to be enrolled in school, need to be able to connect with their communities. And so for those in emergency circumstances who are still trying to live some kind of normal or connected life, we have groups that put together birthday parties at our place, which is the Women and Children's Shelter. And so kids still get to celebrate their birthdays as any other kid would in this facility, partly because of our volunteers. On the permanent side, in order to make a household's budget go further, we have teams of volunteers that go to the Women and Children's Center of the Sierras, stocking the food bank, stocking the diaper bank, and making diaper giveaways ready to go out with women who come in. They are serving over 300 families with over 10,000 diapers a month. And our church is part of that supply. So just to reorient, here we are sitting in the middle of a church in downtown Reno, and we know we have unsheltered neighbors. We have thousands of them. We are responding to that need for those who are in emergency and permanent situations, who both have shelter and don't. But we can see that there is more need. And so this is the part where I want to hear from you. First off, how are you feeling? How do you understand or are thinking about the information I've shared so far? Kind of temperature check. Where are we? Janet, please.
Let's get the microphone working.
So last year was the first time I found out that RISE didn't mean a dispensary for marijuana. And I've known about the Eddy House for a while, but just recently I finally heard a presentation about the Eddy House. And it says on here there are 28 organizations and 72 programs. I would like to find out more about some of these programs that already exist here, particularly RISE. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know kind of what the name stands for and that, but I'd like to find out more about the existing programs. Mm-hmm. And maybe once I know more and we know more, we can figure out where we would fit in with that.
Excellent.
You know something about that, don't you?
I can tell you a little more about what RISE does. In addition to finding people homes, RISE can manage properties. They can accept properties and they will manage them. They will find a tenant. They can even supply a subsidized rent. They also have the first family housing for those in recovery. It's a second in Keystone. They call it the Coop. And so for those families, in recovery programs, this is something I just learned because of RISE. a lot of people don't want to enroll or don't want to participate because they have to leave their families. Well, what are we going to choose here? But RISE has provided housing now where they don't have to make that choice. And so there are families coming in, and then there are families who are ready to go out, who, like the Monai Village residents, need help sort of graduating from that housing. We also, RISE can help people find jobs. RISE can help enroll people into programs. And Lily Barron is our contact at RISE, and I was talking with her, and she said that, no kidding, helping people fill out applications is no small thing. She has just personally sort of adopted an applicant, and it has already taken her 15 hours trying to get this person signed up for public housing because the applications are confusing and difficult and require documentation. And so so RISE helps not only with the buildings, but with the processes and with the transitions.
Now, RISE also has a few things going on. The staff are all people that were formerly unhoused themselves. And so they really understand the community and the struggles. Lily Barron has a garden and a refrigerator project. You want to tell about that?
Yes, she has. So this is something else that Lily has done. She lives north of the St. Vincent de Paul campus where hot meals are distributed. But she's in a place where the closest grocery store is over 2 miles away. So to try to remedy that, she has a garden in her front yard. She also has shelving units and a refrigerator where people can come and donate food. And for her neighbors, some of which are in the Siegel Suites and don't have, which is affordable, but not very resourced housing, and that we don't have full kitchens, can basically warm things up. They can take from the refrigerator or the garden in order to get food to that area.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay, good.
Where is RISE, and how do people we would refer to RISE, where are they, and how do you get in contact with them?
Yes, so I would say you go to their website. RISE is best contacted by going to their website. They do not have a social media page, but Lily Barron does, and you can follow her for what they're up to. RISE is also in transition because they used to be the administrator of the CARES campus, but that contract has now been given to Volunteers of America. So RISE, the last time I looked, hadn't updated their...
Was it our place that they were the administrator of?
Yes, excuse me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And so their website is a little behind, but the contacts work.
Yes, and you can follow them on Instagram. A lot of people that are unhoused do have a phone. They're able to follow on Instagram, and so RISE communicates that way because that gets the word out quickly. And that's how people will find out about the warming center.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. A great question. Anyone else have one? Do you have questions for them?
Oh, we had two other
Okay.
hands come up.
You know, all these agencies that are up and running and functioning and helping serve people, it seems to me that we're continuing to reinvent the wheel. And I'm wondering, is there a way that these agencies can pool their resources and not do the same thing 6 different ways or 27 different ways? Mm-hmm. I mean, if the approach is the same, isn't there a way that they could work together and use each other's resources and contacts to make it more efficient, less confusing, less expensive in the long run?
I like that. How
Sure.
do you collaborate in a competition-based
Sure.
community.
Well, I can give a couple of examples. So I'm happy to tell you that, so Monai Village is across the street from Eddie House. Eddie House homes children. Monai Village homes children just aged out of foster care. Arguably, why do we need Monai Village if we have Eddie House? But because the needs are slightly different. However, Pat, I know that we just had a story at Justice Ministries finding out that Pat has indeed coordinated with Jeremy Renner's, thank you, group in the Tahoe area in order to home children. So there is some coordination going on with the partners we know. I absolutely agree that less administration instead of more is going to be less expensive. This is partly part of why we as a church have wanted to partner, so that we can get a collective impact instead of trying to become a landlord, one more landlord on that list. We might have, as we think about it and think about our own friends, contacts, colleagues, we might have access to rooms, empty apartments or townhomes, or what we called in Tucson the back house, where you sort of have a separate, smaller unit on your property.
We're calling them ADUs now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And additional dwelling unit, yes. And so we might have supply of those. We feel our best response there instead of trying to administer them as Justice Ministries or as the church, connect those people with Rise so that we are partnering there. What I can tell you is that what I can control is and actually I can't control anything at all. I can suggest. Yeah. So what I can suggest is that we as a committee keep working toward working with partners rather than working alone, and working with partners who are also connected in the community in that way.
Oh, I see hands flying. Start with Janet.
So just for clarification, Eddie House only houses 18 to 24-year-olds.
Yes.
Children's cabinet are for younger kids, but they have no overnight facilities, I believe.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I had one back here.
First of all, I want to thank you. It's All Saints Day, and your organization, you are saints, truly. So I live in the neighborhood. I've been volunteering with you for several years, and there is a new facility that will be opening up. And this might be a private conversation to have with you. I have no connection, no affiliation, no family members, anything, but it is the Century Theater. And Livingstone's church, I don't attend that church, but they are going to open that as a community resource. So that might be a way to infiltrate and to help other people. Also, there is some confusion between St. Thomas, between the churches that participate with in this wonderful program, that just to have some flyers, and I know down near downtown there is a little kiosk that has where everybody is, but if you're at Good Shepherd Church, if you're here and you have to go to St. Thomas Aquinas, the women are lost. And therefore, if you have any flyers that I can just take a stack and give out to homeless people in the area, I know many of the homeless people here by name, the women, so I would really appreciate that, and I think there are a lot of opportunities.
What's your name?
Grandma Georgia, but I'm not a grandma yet.
Okay.
Praying.
Future Grandma Georgia, that. And so we'll write that down. We are in the process of making these flyers. So we don't have them yet. We also, we had about 100 people show up for orientation on Monday night. Were you one of them? No. Okay. Oh, okay. And that was really neat. It was people from all over the community. And one of the things that's being planned is when the warming centers open, a couple of people will go out even looking for folks. So you might volunteer with RISE to do some of that. Do you have some things to say about that too, Julie?
What I'll tell you is that I have written down that we need to partner, we need to not reinvent the wheel, and we need to put flyers out in the community so that people know where is the warming center when. And I will continue to make notes about your suggestions. And that's exactly where I want to take the conversation now is, what are we missing? What else could we do to help?
I guess we could go to thrift stores and collect jackets and hats and gloves and anything else for people that are out there.
Yes, so one of the stations, we're going to have places to volunteer for the warming center, and somebody's going to be making warm food each day, but somebody else is going to be doing handing out warm clothes or coffee and hot chocolate. So we will need a supply of gloves and hats, jackets, anything that would keep people warm in the wintertime.
St. Mary's is right now doing a jacket drive, and I've dropped off a few of them. Are we communicating with renowned St. Mary's, the Northern Nevada tribe, and are we checking with them because they were? And then of course there's the Elks Club. You know, there's a Harley Davidson group. I mean, we need to reach out to them, which I can help out with a couple.
Great idea.
Them. So because right now we're just like I'm trying to bring in a coat a week or whenever hitting sales, and so they're not just the thrift store, they're new and all sizes, so just saying.
And
Yes,
these are
Julie
the
has
type of
questions.
things that when I know that there are these opportunities, I can put them in the newsletter so that we can let people know that these are ways to help. Please.
Okay, so this is just kind of like a spitball, but I do know that there is a huge untapped resource within the high schools because a lot of high schoolers are looking for volunteer hours to help with like credits for classes or to get like it on their resume in order to go to college. So there are a lot of kids who don't know where to start and don't know how to reach out to their communities who are also members of their own churches. And so I think if we reach out to like high school leaderships, if we ever need more volunteers or to do a fundraiser so that we have money to get more clothes quicker, that would be a fantastic way of getting more age groups and more word out about this effort.
Very good.
Thank you. Fantastic. Talk about great partners. Fantastic.
I agree with Tilly. We have amazing teenagers. I'm a scoutmaster, and our scouts are always looking for service as well. And a lot of times, like when we're doing the community, oh my goodness, the merit badges and things in the community, so many organizations are like, well, you need to be 16 or older. So if there are specific things that are safe and doable for 12-year-olds or whatever, that'd be great. And also, I've been looking into, because our scout troop specifically is chartered by St. Albert's Catholic Church, and so I've been looking into what St. Vincent's has been doing, and they are ramping up a lot too, especially with the food resources that are, not doing good this month. And also my son goes to Title I high school, Hug High School, and it's amazing. They sent out an email because there's a lot of families there that the kids get one free meal a day at school, and then who knows if they're getting more than that. So they sent out an email Friday to this high school saying that St. Vincent's is feeding all families with EBT cards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I was thinking, is there any way, because I'm sure there are unhoused that are also utilizing St. Vincent's resources, but then maybe need transportation to get here downtown to be housed for the evening. That might be something to think about too, to partnering with St. Vincent's and seeing if they do indeed have a lot of unhoused that could maybe get rides to here for the night.
So I want to mention this. This prompts me to remember when I spoke to Lily about the upcoming community conversation. One of the things that she suggested is that we could really use is that families could use sort of family to family connections. So people who are willing to sort of adopt a family and help get kids enrolled in school, help apply for programs, get kids library cards, go to Parks and Rec, and figure out what programs might they go to, find a bicycle or sports equipment that they need in order to be able to participate in things. And it occurs to me that we could possibly facilitate not only family to family, but maybe teen to teen connections. We could talk to Megan about youth group and so whether that's a good fit. Anyway, so these are your comment made me think that there are those missing links where we need the transportation from one place to another in order to be able to connect with existing services. Getting people a bus pass and so forth can be, things, just getting people connected to resources that already exist, and then, to people who can sort of teach them how to use them. That could be a really good thing to have names of people that are willing to be go-tos to help connect with resourcing.
I just had a question more about First Church. I'm still new here, so I don't know. Do we have showers in the building? I know when we volunteered last year, I know a bunch of the women probably could have used a shower. Is there a way to put the kitchens to work? Those are just other resources that might be helpful that could be additive to what we're already doing.
Yes, and so we have one kitchen upstairs that needs work in order to make it operate fully. So it's not fully functional. Downstairs, we have a whole kitchen that is functional, and we have 2 showers down there. So far, we haven't put that together that we would make that part of the services, but it's certainly a possibility. And so that's something that we would need to hear from the churches like this. We'd like to do this, and that's important for the Justice Ministries and for the trustees to hear. And so thank you for bringing that up. And I've got 3 more. I'll get to you, Tilly. I'm coming from the back to the front.
Hi. Thank you for your question, because mine was similar to that, because having volunteered here before, in the past, some of the women are so filthy and just need to get cleaned up. And just having wipes in the bathroom isn't enough, but then there's liability that you have to have another woman in there, and I don't know, with security or whatever the process is for that legally, to enable women to have dignity and to get clean, other than going out to the river. So, the wipes and everything have been wonderful, but there really is a toothbrush and toothpaste, anything in the bathrooms with a little baggie that when they come in, you can take this along with you, and it doesn't have to be super expensive, just with funding and all of that. So I know there are resources out there, going to some dental offices. I would volunteer. I can talk to you about that later if you want to pursue that, but just having some kind of a hygiene bag for a little dignity, and some soap and all of that. So thank you.
So I will point out that the Charlie bags have much of what you just referenced. They have soap, shampoo and conditioner, lotion, wipes, the a comb, toothbrushes, there it is, and toothpaste. Go again, shampoo and conditioner. So we do have those, and we're stocked because the youth group stocked us. So we have them here in the church. Take them with you if you want to today. We can always ask our guests if they are in need of those items as they exit. And I know that youth group is thinking of another Charlie Bag Assembly Day in December, so we will keep that going.
And also, Rise is bringing some of those supplies with them for check-in as well. And so that's happening as well. I think I have another question right here. Terry, could you pass this over?
Hello, thank you all for being here and for this conversation. It's very wonderful and inspiring. To go back to the teen-to-teen connection idea, if it's not already on the radar, Eddie House has a full-time person who's been working on outreach to the high schools in order to try to reach some of these students who are aging out and into Eddie House services. They do have a dedicated person and a liaison officer as well, and they were kind of trying to problem solve about how to do this outreach, how to maybe bring more partners into the conversation with the high schools. I guess the high schools feel like they're offering enough, but if the conversation could shift with a little bit more information about enough is not maybe what we're looking at right now. They were also looking for somebody who would join up with this person. They've spent about a year, I believe, outreaching the high schools, and they're looking to build relationships through the Eddie House with high schools in order to have a more continuous pipeline of support that could be offered. The idea of outreaching the high school leadership is fantastic and wonderful. One of the other problems Eddie House mentioned is that there was some stigma that students who may want to connect with Eddie House on the campus feel shame or other feelings and don't want to maybe go up to the big purple truck. So as partnerships that could augment that, just throwing it out there. And if you are interested in a contact, I'm sure I could find the people that I spoke with and send it over.
That was going to be my question, is if you knew the name of the contact.
I can find the contact.
Okay. I'm going to give you a card so you can contact me with it, and if you could pass that right next to you.
I apologize if you've already addressed all this since I've been in and out here.
Thank you.
But what struck me last year was the fact is that how few was actually using the facilities of the women. It seemed like I was expecting 2-3 dozen of them. Would it be feasible to talk to the city see if they could put like an electronic billboard down there in City Plaza where most of the unhoused they wander through, or out here in Brick Park, just to sit there and just to notify them of how they can make information about it and stuff like that.
It's a good idea, Ron. And I was talking to Lily when we had the 100 people show up for orientation. I said, Lily, we have the first week, and we were thinking we might get 7-8 people on the first week every night. And she said, plan for 25. This is going to be a big one. And so we could tell by the outreach from the community that the response is big. If that's going to reflect the response from the unhoused, that will be. So the first few nights we're going to plan for big, right? But the communication pathways, Rise wanted to make sure REMSA had flyers to hand out, that the police and the ambassadors had flyers to hand out. I'd love it if electronic signs were possible, so that's a great idea. Yeah? And Georgia was just saying about SNAP, that we're running out of time with SNAP. Do you know anything about SNAP?
So we know that federal funding to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistant Program is frozen until Congress convenes and changes that. And so the pull on donation centers is going to be presumably larger than ever. The church gives. We have ongoing donations to the Women and Children's Service Center. Last year, we helped with the Super Bowl of caring and gave to Northern Nevada Food Bank. And so we will continue to seek out those resources. There is also, just in the parlor on the bulletin board, a listing of where people are where people can get food. I also have St. Vincent de Paul's has a new calendar of meal service to SNAP eligible families that we can post as well. So I'll make a note. Thank you.
And we have a United Methodist Food Bank in Sparks on Pyramid Lane. And that we used to have one here. We found that moving all of the places for people to reside away from downtown made it so that this was not that convenient a spot. But the Sparks Pyramid Way Food Bank is a way for people who have SNAP insecurities to get more food. And I think we should do our best to support that community and build up that food bank so that they are able. Do you have other questions or thoughts here? We got some right here.
Do we have a list of what they need for the Sparks Methodist Church that we could, as a group, we can bring things in every week and take over?
I'll go get it.
We can get one.
Okay,
That's a
we
good
can
idea.
coordinate with them.
Mhm.
Also, we just finished at the Elks Lodge the Socktober thing. Yeah, Socktober, and Sue Babb was in charge of that, and she got like over 10,000, packs.
Do they match?
Oh yeah, they're brand new. Yeah. At my house,
is it just
it's
that one sock I've been
questionable.
missing?
Yeah, at my house, it's a whole new ballgame. But no, they were in. So we need to be thinking of that throughout the year as well. But and we can do that with our church.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Tilly, you have some more wisdom for us?
Yeah, just to I was thinking more about what I said earlier, and I kind of wanted to add on, is that youth group too. We are all very willing and would love to help out as much as we can when it comes to cooking any food ahead of time or making any preparations, because we do have a bedtime, quite a few of us, and we also have school, so we can't stay here all night for the 4-hour shifts or anything like that, or come in early before school all the time, but we can definitely do a lot of the beforehand work if you guys need us to. And then adding on to the school thing, I go to Reno High, and I know the leadership teacher there and Principal Nakashima are angels, and they are always looking for ways to help, not only help kids going there who may be struggling financially or with housing, but are always looking for ways to get their students involved with community activities. So I can reach out to them if you guys would like. You can also reach out to them. I'm sure they'd be happy to hear that. We also have quite a few clubs who would definitely be interested in that. We have a Christians athletes club too. So we have a lot of kids who are going to churches and stuff, and we can get them involved as well, because I know quite a few of them, like I said, if they're not, we have 2 resources of kids who we can get involved, which is the kids who are struggling and need help and don't quite feel like they have community and support. And then we also have a group that does have resources, that is better off, are looking for opportunities to be a part of their community and also earn volunteer hours so that they can have that on their resume as well. And so we can tap into both of those groups at our school to build a deeper connection with the community as well.
Thank you for that.
I might give you a rest on your finger because you've been writing so hard.
And
I'll walk slowly over to John.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I just want to say, I want to make sure that we get youth group connected with the Eddie House contact, because I think some really important contacts that are, for programming kind of already in place could work really well there. And then I will also keep in mind that you guys are willing cooks, because it could be that we need food preparers for the warming center. Every morning we are doing a warm send-off, and so we need 25 individually packaged grab-and-go warm items. It can be a casserole that is, cut up and put in foil, but we need it cooked first. So that might really help people out, and thank you for that. Okay, more notes.
Just a quick comment, Julie. First of all, thank you. And I think the challenge is for the Justice Group is going to be, how do you determine our focus? Because as you heard, there are clearly not only a lot of agencies, but a lot of ideas about what we could do. And I think one of the dangers is not having, I guess the issue is having our energy dispersed and not having an impact or clarity on what we want to do and where we want that impact to be felt. Because I think for the church, it's not just this one homeless issue, but there are a lot of justice issues, there are a lot of community issues. And, you know, if every week there's a different donation to help this person here or that group there, I just feel like I would rather personally see the church identify 1 or 2, perhaps 3 focal energy points and say we're going to pursue those. And again, from my perspective, because of the challenges that are present for permanent housing, for that transition, you know, I would rather see, I mean, we have an element now with Monai Village, which sounds like it is an avenue for people to move towards permanent housing.
It is.
And so that clearly seems to me to be one that we want to continue to invest in. And so the issue then becomes, what else? I guess focus is what I'm saying. I'm repeating myself.
How do we
And
focus?
one of the principles that we've had in Justice Ministries is that we've had 3. We want to focus on the unsheltered. We want to focus on food security, and we want to focus on working with partners who want to work with us. We don't want to be alone in any effort. So that in itself, as Fufi also suggested, is a great filter. Where do we find a partner? We have Rise, we have Eddie House here. We can make that connection. It could be that if we just connect some people, that's the ministry we needed to do. We don't have to change our donation, you know, to whom we're donating or add 3 more. It's that if we can just connect a few interested parties. And I guess what I can say there is we have our eyes on that too, because we are only so many people. Yes.
Was there someone else? Okay. You also need to talk about this sign up here, if you had any of that. But do you see anyone else that you need a comment from?
Any other hands?
Okay. Wait, let me get this. You might have a teacher's voice, but we don't have children's ears.
Hi, I guess this might sound ridiculous right now to anyone in the room, but having been married, had a huge house in Cullen Ranch, we had an open door policy at my house, and there were very affluent children, teens at Reno High School that were couch surfers at our house. And we provided everything. I wasn't enabling as a mother, surrogate mother, but there are a lot of young adults that are in turmoil and need some good role models and need some help. So I know that's probably low on your list. I can't judge or say anything regarding that, and I am. However, there really is a need for that as well. Maybe that might be a phase 4 or phase 5 or whatever down the road. But if, you know, especially having teens at your high schools that can reach out as an ambassador and maybe get some training to say, hey, you're not alone. And this is what, go to the counselor. I know the principals are so overwhelmed. I've worked in administration, I've done all that stuff, and with the legislature, but it just, you have to just find the right venue to get and the connection, and then the partnership and the investment in it, and then everything will come to fruition in time with your plan. So thank you.
So I feel like 2 resources that we have that we can use are our people and our facility. And with people, with willing volunteers, we could have a let's buddy up and go to job training day, or let's buddy up and get library cards day, or figure out what Parks and Rec has. I mean, like, having people that are willing to go as a group to get signed up might decrease that don't want to go to the purple bus feeling. But then we also have at our church a place that people can convene. And we had the idea that what if we had a come do your applications here once a month, and we'll have people to help you with them. So these are things that we can try on, that we can figure out how to facilitate with the resources that we have. And now the question to you is, when we do a future conversation like this, are there other topics that are pressing on your heart? I mentioned the unsheltered and food insecurity. Are there other things that you would like to talk about as a church community about how we can help? And it can be yes, it can be no, but we wanted to ask because, again, we want to make sure that we are sending God's hands where you want them sent. While you are thinking, the one thing that is not on your information sheet is my contact information. But it is in the church newsletter in the Justice Ministries update. And you will know you're seeing it when you see Julie Morrison, which is juliemorrisonwriter@gmail.com. And you don't have to write that down because it's in the newsletter. But I wanted to make sure that you have that so that if you have thoughts later, if you want connections, if you want to prompt a, hey, you mentioned, who is that person? Please do be in touch with me, and I will collect these, I'll respond to them, I'll take them to Justice, and we will be talking about these suggestions and what our response could be to them.
In every pew, there's this fellowship pad. If you want to have contact from the church and don't have it right now, and you want to get a newsletter from the church and don't get one right now, use this, put your name and your email address in there, and we'll get you connected with us, and that will get you this contact information as well.
Thank you, yes. And again, thank you for coming. Thank you for giving of your time and your minds and your hearts and your interests and coming to speak with us. We're really so very grateful to hear from you.
Will you tell us about the volunteer opportunity?
Yes, and so...
Oh, you can go ahead and clap if you like. Yeah.
As you... As you walk out, I'd like to invite you to go by way of the parlor. You will see sign-up sheets for the first week that we are hosting of the Warming Center. We need food preparers each day, but we also need people who are just willing to be helpful wherever. We're looking for 3 volunteers a day. And then there is a list, a handout that you can take with you of items that would support the church in hosting the Warming Center. Things like coffee and creamer and hot chocolate and socks and so forth.
Matching.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we have, sign up if you can. Megan will also have an online sign up coming, but that she will have paper and she will have online, so just watch for those. Take a handout of what you can bring to help.
This.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And be in touch as you want to talk further. And then take our thanks home with you. And a Charlie bag.
Yes. Thank you so much. Well done.